Hi everyone, this is Pranav with yet another Swift video. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to search through lists in SwiftUI. Be sure to look forward to a lot more Swift and SwiftView videos in the future. SwiftUI videos in the future, whether it be recreations of already existing apps or cool tutorials like this one. Let's get started by creating a new Xcode project. Choose Single View Applications and Next. You can choose any product name you'd like. I'm just going to choose search. Pick your team and change the user interface to SwiftUI if it isn't already. You can untick all of these options down here and click next. Choose any location to store it. I'm just going to choose documents. Now let's get started by editing the contentview.swift file. We need to create a variable to store our list items. Let's just call it array. You can put any items you want in this array, but I'm just going to do Mac OS versions, and they're all strings. Now that we have our array, we also need another variable for our search text, which is going to be our query. Now we need to use @state so it can be recognizable by the text field. Let's just call it search text and set it to nothing for now. And we're just setting this as private for now, but it doesn't need to be. Now let's remove our text here and replace it with a navigation view. We're also going to set a navigation bar title, and this can also be whatever you would like it to be. Just add a text inside of here, and let's call it search. Now we need our actual content. Let's create a VStack, which we're going to put all of our content into. Now we need a HStack for the search bar, and we also have the list below that. So for the HStack, we obviously need the text field, but I'm also going to add an image. This image is just a magnifying glass, which is usually used to represent search. And let's also have the text field. Now we have a placeholder here. Let's do search for a version, and our text is gonna be our search text variable. Now I'm just gonna add a text field style, but this isn't necessary. Now that we're done with our HStack, let's create our list. I'm going to be creating the list using a for each loop. Now, this is where we're actually implementing our search. We're going to be using filter on the array and using hasPrefix, the attribute hasPrefix, to check if it matches with our search query. To do that, let's first use our array, then .filter, and use curly braces. Now we're going to use $0, which is the first item, and use the hasPrefix attribute using search text variable. So what this does is checks if this item has the prefix of search text. But we don't want to check this if the search text variable is nothing. So we're just going to check that too. Because if search text if the user hasn't searched yet, then we don't want to actually query and filter through the array. Now outside of this, we also need our ID, which is just gonna be self. Now we have our for each loop. We actually need content for each item. Let's just use a text for now, and we're using $0 again. Now we messed up on this. We need the other backward slash. Now if we preview this, the build succeeded. It looks good except for missing padding around the search bar. Let's just add padding and click try again. Now that looks great. Let's test if this actually works. If we enter a query here, let's say S, shows Snow Leopard and Sierra. What about M? Mountain Lion, Mavericks, and Mojave. It works just as expected. But what if you wanted to search through a parameter of a class? Let's try to do that too. Let's create a struct, and I'm just going to call it macOS, which is related to our macOS versions. And our two parameters, our two attributes, are going to be the name, which is a string, and the release date, which is also, release year, which is also a string. And this can be whatever you would like, but you would have to convert it into a string if you want to query it with the search text. Now, let's also create another array called versions, in which we're going to store the objects which are of the struct macOS. And now that we've fixed up this array, here we have versions filled with these macOS objects. Now let's implement that in our search. We can change the for each loop to instead filter this versions array, and instead of using $0, because $0 is an object, not a string, let's instead use its name attribute and also ID it by name. We also need to change the text here into the name attribute. If we resume the preview and try this again, you can see it works just as expected. But now, if we were to change it from name to release year, and once again right here, and once again right here, we can still search through it just as before, but it wouldn't really work in this case. That's about it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. And as I said at the start, you can look forward to many more SwiftUI tutorials in the coming weeks. Thank you for watching, and stay safe everyone.